Hello there, and welcome to Mystic Brick. Today we're going to jump into part 2 of the desert tomb of the Archlich and see what fate awaits our adventurers. So yeah, without really any delay, let's just get right on into it. I have already set down some of the base work. As you can see, just built the stairs down into the tomb. And now I'm going to continue to build around. But first I'm just going to test out this little trapdoor, which will drop into a pit of snakes. And just making sure that the mechanism works well enough, which I think it does. So let's just go ahead and put some snakes in there then. And then we'll start to build up the interior of the tomb using some masonry, the medium stone gray and the sand blue masonry as we did above. So just gonna continue to build around the interior of the tomb, and I'm gonna put some bricks with knobs in here too so that I can mount certain items on the walls. And then you can see I put down some of the plate work on the stairs at this point. I put a few items on the walls, but I end up switching those out just because I changed my mind about where I wanted them to be. And then at some point here I start running out of bricks and had to wait for my next order to come in. And so decided to transition to putting down more of the tile work. And you can see I've started to piece out where I want certain items to be on the floor with those tiles with knobs down there. I also made the little sarcophagus for our Archlich over here. Pretty simple, but yeah, put a gargoyle on top of the lid, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, yeah, I'm going to start putting some items within the Archlich's tomb, including this candelabra, which will go directly behind his sarcophagus. I also got him this really cool spear from Pickle Bricks, so that'll be a magical spear that he has on the wall. And then, yeah, just put a few more things in there, shield another candelabra. And now I'm going to start looking at this mechanism here to get into the tomb. Very simple, really. I just attached a chain to a brick with knobs on the sliding wall bit, and then attached the other end of that chain to a connector piece that then connects to this wheel mechanism out here. And now we're going to jump ahead a little bit, put down all of the tile work. I'm going to spin around here and show you this false wall, which will allow us to take a closer look into the interior of the tomb where the Archlich will be. We're going to test out this trap again, make sure that that's working well. Seems to be doing so. Very happy about that. And test out the sliding wall again one more time. You can see I've hidden the wheel inside of this little alcove here. Our adventurers will have to discover that. All looking good, so now let's put down some of the interior decorations. Going to include a lot of treasure. So here's one of the first chests, with a bunch of jewels in there, some coins. You can see I put some coins on the floor surrounding it as well. I'm going to have this armor stand with some pretty cool elven armor that I got from Pickle Bricks as well. So that'll just be sitting over here under a little archway. I got this a little crystal ball too, and there's a petrified head inside of it, so Hopefully our heroes can discover that. You gotta have at least one golden cup on a stand, so we're gonna put that in the corner here too. This will be an all-seeing elixir, which we'll talk more about in a little bit, but I'm gonna set that in front of the turning mechanism to hide it a little bit better. So got this spell book for our warlock to discover with the spell of invisibility inside, I'm gonna say. One more treasure chest, which will also have a spell inside of it, a spell of greater defense. Magical defense, perhaps. A few sacks in there as well, for good measure. Can never have too many sacks. And then I'm going to put some torches on the walls. You know, I might have done lights with this build, but just thought about it too late and decided not to. So it would have been cool though. Here's a really cool quarterstaff for our monk to find. And then we're going to have this two-handed cleaving axe over here as well, sitting right beside that quarterstaff. This is a little sign I got from K-Town Bricks. I think it's really cool. Just another bit of warning there for our adventurers as they descend into the tomb. We've got this golden hourglass as well, which will prove useful in a fight. We'll put that over here just above the trap. And now I'd say we should go look at our minifigs for part 2. First off, we have a little barbarian, human barbarian here. The torso and headpiece I got from K-Town Bricks. I really like that. You can see the definition on the arms and back there. He's a muscly guy. I dig it. Here's our little troop of skeletons and one mummy in there that our heroes are going to have to contend with. They all have poisonous weapons. So hopefully our adventurers will be bringing some poison defense with them. We got this cool little undead fellow here too. He's got a pretty sweet sword and shield and helm. Torso and legs come from an Ninjago set, the head as well. And then we have Zaz Tam with a bit more regalia about him this time, giving him a cape and that cool helm and this custom staff as well, which I think suits him pretty neatly. And then here we have the Archlich himself. So he's got a torso piece from one of the Ninjago sets, and then the legs come from the D&D sorcerer from the D&D set. And then I've given him, yeah, that cool spear and shield and crown. All right, let's pick up where we left off. Our adventurers are on their way into the very depths of the tomb, and who knows what they might discover there. Hopefully, they are well prepared for anything they're about to encounter. They should be at this point. As soon as they get down into the tomb, well, there's going to be a fight waiting for them. Indeed, their activity above and the removal of the red skull artifact alerted the skeletons below, and so they are waiting to fight our heroes. This then is what an initial scene might look like. And wouldn't you know it too, but there is a prisoner down here, a trapped barbarian. Certainly our heroes were not anticipating finding this fellow, but perhaps he might prove useful in a fight, especially with the odds so stacked against them. As the fight continues and our heroes do their darndest to survive, the warlock has noticed that there is this golden hourglass in the wall over here. Indeed, this might be a very important artifact to use in this fight, indeed. Perhaps it can manipulate time in some way. If our warlock had failed to roll perception or failed his perception roll, he might not realize that he's standing right above a pit of snakes. And if he were to reach for that hourglass without taking the right precautions, well, he might fall through that trap, like so. And then he would be in some serious trouble. Now let's have a look at those snakes down inside there. Look at them all just squirming about. If, however, our warlock were astute enough and maybe used telekinesis to grab that hourglass, then we might be in a better position. And he might be able to stop time or slow time at that point and hop down into the fray to unfetter the barbarian and thrust him into the fight. Upon so doing, our warlock might be able to teleport back up to a safe distance while the barbarian attempts to retrieve a weapon from the wall. Meanwhile, the fight rages on, and that undead protector is getting all the more closer. If all things go well and our barbarian is able to secure that weapon, well then our heroes should be able to deal with this chap without too much effort. Here's what that scene might look like. Alright, if they are successful in dispatching their foes, our heroes will now start to look around the tomb here and discover all kinds of treasure about. And this will give the barbarian a chance to become acquainted with our heroes as well. Hopefully they all have similar goals. Even further exploration will allow our troop to discover more treasure, this stand of magical armor, and the spellbook as well. All things that might prove very useful in the fight ahead, the fight they don't even know they're about to have necessarily. And if our warlock were then to examine this pedestal with the all-seeing elixir upon it, well then they may discover something hidden behind it. Alright, let's take a look at all of the loot our adventurers have discovered thus far. Got quite the collection here. All the poison-laden weapons of the undead, as well as the hourglass, the all-seeing elixir, the spellbook, all of this armor, the bow and quiver, and then of course all the treasure and that petrified head. A pretty good haul, I would say, and it will be up to their discretion to figure out how to use or equip that armor. This would be one option then. Our monk here will be taking that new quarterstaff, our barbarian that whole suit of armor, our warlock that new spellbook, and our artificer that bow and quiver. Here's another option with some of those weapons and armor switched out. Again, it'll be up to our heroes to decide what they might like to do. Okay, once that all-seeing elixir has been removed and perhaps consumed at this point, our heroes might discover that there is in fact a hidden panel here. If they were to activate that, oh my goodness, they're going to discover the very interior of the tomb and the Archlich's sarcophagus. Of course, he's not alone in there. Tam is in the process of resurrecting him, having gotten here before. Well, this whole scenario is going to prove quite confounding for our heroes. And indeed, as Tam finishes his spell, the Archlich arises from his sarcophagus. And now we shall really have a fight on our hands. Moving out into the main area to have that battle, this is what such a scene might look like. Hopefully our heroes will be well equipped enough with all sorts of magical items to use against these formidable foes, and hopefully they'll be able to win the day. But who's to say? If they were indeed successful in their battle, these are the items they would retrieve from the Archlich and Tam. Some pretty special stuff, I'd say. A spell to control the dead, perhaps. And kitted out, this is what our adventurers might look like. Perhaps our monk takes the spear. Perhaps our warlock takes the helm and staff of Tam. And perhaps our artificer takes that crown. You could make these items whatever you wanted them to be, in terms of their magical qualities. Okay, let's have a look at the entire mock one last time from top to bottom. I've just put this all together so you can have a look. We have the desert scene up top and the tomb below. I think that on the whole, this build turned out pretty well. I'm happy with everything. It's one that I really enjoyed building, especially the sand elements. I'm hoping to do more of that in the future. I also enjoyed making all these little traps and contraptions, and I probably would have put more in here if I was building a bigger mock too. But yeah, in the future I will definitely be doing more of that with some of the other builds that I intend to create. I've really had fun building this whole D&D series, but I quickly just wanted to say here that in the very near future, I will be starting a new venture. There's a new tabletop RPG that just came out from the creators of Critical Role. It's called Dagger Heart, so like D&D, but myself and some friends are going to be starting a campaign, and I'll be building some pieces for that campaign, so I intend to showcase those here. Keep a lookout for that. Thank you so much for stopping by today and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate that. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.